Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into a nightmare you never want to live. Imagine this, you're deep in the forest of southern Arizona. The sun's dipping low and suddenly the ground beneath your feet gives way, not literally, but a massive landslide blocks your only trail out. The wind chills your skin, clouds swallow the sky, and your phone, nope, no signal. Just you and your team stranded. You probably won't want to be caught in this kind of trap. No GPS, no backup, just nature's slow squeeze. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments so we can see how spooky it is where you are. Now dim the lights, lock your doors, and let's delve into tonight's chilling scenario together. It was supposed to be a routine hiking trip with my 3 teammates, good people, tough as nails. We were chasing the quiet thrill of the desert forests, armed with backpacks and a sense of adventure. The weather forecast promised clear skies. Instead, the day turned sour fast. Around mid-afternoon, as we navigated a narrow path through dense brush and looming rock faces, a deafening rumble shook the ground. We barely had time to react before a landslide slammed down, blocking our route. No way forward, no way back. The shadows stretched longer and soon darkness crept over us. We were stuck miles from civilization, phone dead zones all around. Panic tried to crawl under my skin, but I forced calm cop instinct, I guess. That's when we spotted it, a cabin, old wooden, swallowed by moss and creeping vines like it had been abandoned for decades. No lights, no smoke, just a dark silhouette in the gathering night. The kind of place you'd swear was straight out of a ghost story. But shelter was shelter. We pushed open the creaking door, stepping inside where dust hung thick and silence was absolute. Outside, the wind howled like a lost soul. Inside, the shadows played tricks on our eyes. We set up what little we had for warmth and tried to settle in. Sleep, though, was a stranger that night. My mind kept wandering to that cabin. Why was it here deserted? And why did the air feel so cold, even indoors? Hours later, long past midnight, I was jolted awake by a soft whisper from beneath the floorboards. I'm cold. So cold. The voice was fragile, barely more than a breath. My heart slammed in my chest as a cold shiver ran down my spine. I glanced around. My teammates were out cold, sprawled across the dusty floor. Then at the doorway I saw her, a girl in white long hair, masking her face, holding a silver necklace that swayed gently as if caught in an unseen breeze. She stepped forward and the air thickened, charged with a heavy sadness. Her face came into view, pale, haunting eyes locked onto mine. It was Jane Doe 19. The same girl from the first cold case I ever worked on as a detective. The one no one ever named. The one whose ghost was reaching out from the past. And just like that, the nightmare wasn't just a story anymore. The memory of Jane Doe 19's face burned into my mind sharper than any photograph in my old case files. Back in '87, I was fresh on the force, eager but green. We got the call about a body found in the desert just 10 miles from that very cabin, and the scene haunted me ever since. Her body was curled like she was trying to protect herself from something unseen. Eyes wide open, staring blankly at the endless sky, like she'd seen something no one else could, something terrifying. There were no signs of a struggle, but her neck told a different story. A faint, almost invisible mark in the shape of a necklace pressed against her skin, and abrasions like she'd been dragged or held down hard. The department called her Jane Doe 19 because there were so many unidentified victims before and after her. A nameless ghost lost in paperwork and cold case files. No one reported her missing, no family came forward. She vanished into the abyss of forgotten tragedies. I kept her photo locked in a drawer, a reminder of the lives that slip through the cracks of justice. Her eyes haunted me, not just the emptiness, but something pleading, like she was screaming to be remembered. That night at the cabin, seeing her ghost was like a punch to the gut. Her presence wasn't malevolent, it was desperate, like she needed me to finish what was left undone. The necklace in her hand shimmered faintly under the moonlight, sneaking through broken window panes, swinging as if caught in a slow, sorrowful dance. When I told my teammates the next morning, their laughter hit me like a slap. It's just exhaustion, man. You're letting the job get to you. But inside, I knew something had shifted. This wasn't just a haunting, it was a message. I dug up the old evidence, dusted off the case files, and reopened the investigation. New DNA technology was a game changer. I sent the sample from her old evidence to CODIS, hoping for a breakthrough. Less than a week later, an email popped into my inbox. A match. The ghost had a name: Deanna Criswell, 16 years old, missing from Spokane, Washington. No official missing report, just a family too broken to believe she was truly gone. Suddenly, the case wasn't just a cold file, it was a young girl's story waiting to be told. And it all traced back to that cabin and the silver necklace swinging in the night. It's strange how one object, something as simple as a necklace, can pull the veil off decades of silence. Deanna's necklace. I saw it with my own eyes in the cabin, clutched in the pale fingers of a ghost. But now I had to prove it in daylight, in the real world, not just in my own haunted mind. I started by combing through every scrap of the original case file, all yellowed paper and smudged ink. It felt like archaeology digging up a tragedy that time had tried to bury. One note caught my eye, scribbled in the corner of a report nearly illegible garage. At 512 Place Deanna once visited. A single line. That's all I had, but sometimes the smallest detail cracks a case wide open. 512 turned out to be an old property on the outskirts of Tucson, its garage overgrown with ivy and forgotten junk. The house had changed hands 3 times since the 80s, and the current owner, a bearded guy named Rob, who brewed his own kombucha, had no idea who Deanna was. But he let me take a look. The garage smelled of mildew and mouse droppings. I lifted old tarps, peeked into dusty boxes, crawled over spiderwebs, and then I found it. Under a false panel buried beneath warped floorboards and rat nests was a small wooden jewelry box. I cracked it open, hands shaking. Inside was the necklace, tarnished with age, but still bearing the faint engraving Deanna. Not a copy, not a coincidence. The same necklace from the crime scene, the one pressed into her skin like a final breath, and the one I saw dangling from the ghost's hand in that cabin. At that moment, I knew 2 things. First, I wasn't losing my mind, and second, Deanna wanted this solved, needed it solved. I took the necklace in for evidence processing, and while the lab worked its magic, I dove back into the records, digging into anyone who might have been connected to her. In 1987, the name that kept resurfacing was one I'd hoped I'd never hear again. Charles M., a quiet loner back then. He used to rent a trailer near the desert. We had reports of suspicious behavior around him, young girls avoiding his place, whispered rumors, but nothing ever stuck. We couldn't pin anything on him, and eventually, he disappeared from the area. Back then, there was no DNA database, no online trail. But now, I cross-checked his name with a few databases, and sure enough, he was still alive. Living 3 hours north, working as a maintenance guy at a middle school. Clean record. Married once, divorced quickly. No kids. I called in a favor and got a warrant for a cheek swab. The lab didn't take long. When the results came in, the blood in my veins turned to ice. Match. 99.999%. He was there. His DNA was found on Deanna's body. We had our guy. But here's the thing, I wasn't ready to arrest him. Not yet. Because something about the case still didn't add up. His name might have come up before, but the details were always murky. Why was Deanna in that desert? What led her to that cabin? And why, after 30 years, did her spirit finally reach out? It wasn't just about catching a killer. It was about telling her story, right? I start digging into Charles M.'s past, not just the obvious stuff, but the forgotten corners. School records, hospital visits, old newspaper clippings, anything with his name on it. What I find paints a picture more disturbing than I expected. In 1985, 2 years before Deanna was found dead, Charles was questioned in the disappearance of another girl, Marla Jensen, 14 years old. She vanished on her way to choir practice, last seen near a gas station not far from where Charles lived at the time. No body was ever found. Case went cold. Sound familiar? The report says he claimed he was homesick. No one could prove otherwise. That excuse had aged terribly like milk in the sun. Then, in 1986, a neighbor reported hearing cries from Charles's shed. Police did a cursory check. Nothing found. Probably just raccoons, the officer had scribbled. Right. Raccoons with vocal cords. All of this starts to stack up. Not in a legal way, nothing here would hold in court. But for me, for my gut, it's enough to start building a timeline of behavior, a pattern. That's when I get an idea. I want to take him back to the cabin. I know it sounds unorthodox, maybe even reckless, but I have to see how he reacts. If Deanna's spirit appeared to me there, maybe, just maybe the place itself still holds energy, still echoes the crime in some way. I call in a favor from an old partner, Jessie, now with state law enforcement. She's skeptical, but she trusts me. We pick Charles up under the guise of asking him more questions about his time in Arizona. He's calm, polite even, gray around the edges now, the kind of guy you might think sells lawnmowers or volunteers at church bake sales. He has no clue where we're taking him. The drive is quiet at first. He makes small talk about how dry the season's been, how gas prices are crazy, normal stuff. But the closer we get to the cabin, the more he shifts. Starts sweating, fidgeting. He asks for water, says his stomach's acting up. Jessie gives me a look in the rearview mirror. He knows. We pull up to the edge of the trail, the same worn path through the trees. The cabin looks even worse than before, if that's possible. One of the shutters hangs by a single nail, creaking in the wind. Moss crawls up the siding like veins. I tell him we're going inside. His feet barely move. He's shaking, eyes darting around like he's looking for an escape hatch. We guide him forward, me on one side, Jessie on the other. No handcuffs yet, just us, the forest, and that rotting skeleton of a house. Inside, the air is heavier than I remember, like something's holding its breath. Charles stops just past the doorway, stares at the floorboards. Then he whispers, "She was here." It hits me like a hammer. He hasn't even seen the room yet. I ask him who he's talking about. He stutters. "The girl, the one with the necklace." And just like that, the spell breaks. He bolts, tries to run, but Jessie's faster, slams him against the wall. But we're not done, because that's when the ceiling groans. Something drops hard onto the floor behind us. We all turn. It's a shoe. Old, tattered, one sole half dangling, but unmistakably female, like something a teenager would wear back in the 80s. It didn't fall from the rafters. I swear to you it appeared, like the house spit it out on purpose. Charles drops to his knees, begins sobbing. Not fake tears, the kind that rack your chest and pull something primal out of you. He says her name, Deanna. That's all I need to hear. Back at the station, he spills everything. They met at a bus station. She was trying to get back to Spokane. He offered her a ride, said he had family up north, could drop her along the way. She believed him. He took her to the cabin. She was scared. He told her it was just a place to rest, that the rain would let up soon. He didn't mean to kill her. That's what he claims. He says it was an accident. She fought back. He panicked. But I've seen this story before. Heard it in courtrooms, in interviews, in confession tapes. The only accident was that he got caught. And the only reason he got caught was because she came back from beyond to lead us. After Charles's confession, things should feel wrapped up. like the weight is off my chest, case closed, justice served. But it doesn't. That cabin's burned into my memory more than Deanna's ghost, more than the shoe, more than the way Charles crumbled like a wet paper bag when it all came out. There's something about it that won't let go. So even after he's booked, even after the DA starts prepping the case for court, I go back. I wait until nightfall, bring a flashlight, a fresh notebook, and a stupid amount of batteries. I leave my phone in the car. Don't ask why. Maybe it's superstition. Or maybe I don't want whatever's out here to follow me digitally. Yeah, I know how that sounds. The forest's quiet this time. Not peaceful, more like it's waiting. The way a crowd gets silent before someone makes a speech at a funeral. I step onto the porch. The boards still creak, but one of them feels loose. Curious, I crouch down and lift it. There's a hollow underneath, and inside it, a rusted tin box sealed with tape like someone tried to hide it in a hurry. My hands are shaking as I open it. Photos. Old Polaroids yellowing around the edges. Girls, different ones. Always alone, always scared. I feel my stomach turn. One of them is Deanna wearing that silver necklace, same one found in the floorboards. There's more. A diary page torn and stained, written in panicked scrawl. He said if I scream again, he'll take my tongue. I think he means it. I miss Mom. Please, someone find me. I have to sit down, right there on the floor, because now I know we've only scratched the surface. Charles wasn't just a killer. He was a collector. And this cabin, it wasn't his hiding spot. It was his hunting ground. I snap pictures of everything, carefully seal the box back up. But before I leave, something catches my eye. On the far wall, barely visible behind the rot and peeling wallpaper, is a symbol, carved into the wood. It's rough hand done, but deliberate. A triangle intersected by a spiral. It's not graffiti. It feels older, ancient even. I've seen it before, once. Back when I worked a case involving a missing cult member years ago out in New Mexico. Same symbol showed up carved into the victim's skin. Back then, the FBI dismissed it as coincidence. Probably just a copycat, they said. But now I'm not so sure. I copy the symbol into my notebook. Take a rubbing with charcoal. That night, I barely sleep. My dreams are jagged and loud, full of static and whispers. But one voice is clear. He wasn't the only one. I wake up gasping, drenched in sweat. And even though my apartment is locked up tight, there are muddy footprints on the floor. Children's sighs, leading from the window to the foot of my bed. I don't scream. I can't. I just sit there frozen while my mind races. She's trying to tell me something. Deanna, or maybe one of the others. They're not done, and neither am I. The next day, I take the symbol to an expert. Dr. Halverson teaches religious anthropology at the State University. Bit of an oddball, talks to his plants and wears socks with sandals, but brilliant. When I show him the rubbing, he goes dead silent. His eyes widen. Not in an "I've never seen this before" way, in an "oh no, not again" way. He says the symbol predates modern language, that it's been found at multiple crime scenes, worldwide ritualistic murders, disappearances, even alleged hauntings. They call it the spiral of holding. Legend says it's used to trap something, not a person. A soul. He says in ancient lore, it's etched into places meant to keep spirits locked in, not let them out. Which means the cabin wasn't just Charles's tool. It might have been part of something bigger, something meant to hold those girls in place. Suddenly, everything about the haunting shifts in my mind. Deanna didn't escape. She broke free, and if she did, maybe others can too. But here's the twist that keeps me up. If the symbol was meant to trap her, who put it there? Charles, or someone before him? The thing about a mystery, you start tugging on one thread and the whole thing starts to unravel, fast. After that visit with Dr. Halverson, I become obsessed. I don't mean curious, I mean full-blown corkboard and pushpins obsessed. My apartment looks like the inside of a conspiracy theorist's brain. Red yarn, Polaroids, newspaper clippings, strange symbols. and always that triangle with the spiral. I tracked down other cases, cold ones, girls who vanished near rural towns, always close to abandoned structures, cabins, barns, schools. The same pattern, always a necklace left behind, always a single footprint in ash or mud, sometimes a whisper reported by the search party. And in one grainy old photo from 1984, taken outside a crumbling house in upstate Michigan, there it is scratched faintly into the doorframe. The spiral of holding. Deanna wasn't the first, but something tells me she might have been the last. Because now the holding is broken, and whatever was trapped isn't anymore. I try to take this theory to the station, go to Captain Breyer, show him the symbol, the cases, the box I found. He stares at me like I've grown an extra head, tells me it's above our pay grade, that Charles is in jail, the case is closed, and I should take a vacation. He actually uses that word, vacation, as if sleep-deprived visions and ghostly footprints are something a few mojitos can cure. That night, I get a call, blocked number. I answer it anyway. Static. Then a voice, ragged, childlike, whispering, "You saw me." I freeze. "Who is this?" "You heard me." There's a crackling noise, then what sounds like a giggle, high-pitched, not cute, malevolent. Then silence. I sleep with the lights on. The next day, Halverson calls. He's been digging too. Says the spiral isn't just a symbol of containment, it's also been linked to ancient rites meant to anchor spirits. But if it's drawn improperly, it doesn't bind. It summons. And now he's scared. He says he found references to a group, the Daughters of Enoch. Sound religious, but they're not. They're old, pre-Christian. He says their whole goal was to trap vengeful spirits inside human hosts to prevent them from crossing over and wreaking havoc. Here's the kicker: they didn't do it to protect the living. They did it to study the dead, to commune with them, use them. Charles wasn't just a killer, he was a vessel, a willing one. And now he's in jail, alone, with no protective symbols anywhere around him. I grab my coat. I have to get to him. I reach the station late that night. Tell the desk officer I need to speak to Charles. He gives me a look but waves me through. The holding cells are quiet, too quiet. I approach his block. His cell door is ajar. That's not supposed to happen. And Charles, he's not there. What is there sprawled on the bunk is something written in blood. One word: run. The lights flicker, and suddenly it's cold. Not chilly, not draft from the vents cold. Bone-deep January in Siberia cold. And then I hear it, the soft clink of a chain. Footsteps that don't match any officer's gait. And a whisper right behind my ear. "You should have left me sleeping." I spin around. Nothing. But on the wall, scratched deep into the paint, is the spiral again. This time flawed, skewed, like it was drawn in a rush. And that's when I realize Charles didn't escape. He was taken. Something else is loose now, wearing his skin, or maybe using it like a puppet. I stumble back out of the station, heart pounding so hard I think I might black out. I make it to my car, lock the doors, and just sit there, breathing into my sleeve. My phone buzzes. Blocked number again. A text this time. We all wore the necklace once. I don't reply. I just drive, because I think I know where I need to go next. That cabin again. But this time, I'm not going to look for clues. I'm going to dig deep. And I've got a crowbar, a map of the property, and an uneasy feeling that the worst part of this story hasn't even begun. I'm back at the cabin, but the silence here is thicker, like the air itself is holding its breath. The sun's barely a sliver over the horizon, but there's no warmth. The trees loom overhead like silent sentinels, their bare branches scratching the sky. I feel eyes on me, whether real or imagined, I can't tell. I clutch the crowbar tighter, partly for defense, mostly for the comfort of feeling something solid in my hands. The front door creaks open with an eerie familiarity, groaning like a wounded animal. Inside, dust motes dance in the morning light, filtering through the cracks. The air smells of mold and forgotten secrets. Every step I take echoes swallowed by the thick wooden walls. I scan the room, heart thudding not with fear but with a grim determination. I need to find whatever Charles left behind, whatever tethered him here. In the corner, I spot a small rusted box covered in cobwebs. I pry it open. Inside, old letters, photographs, and a faded journal. The handwriting is scratchy, hurried. Charles's. The entries paint a chilling picture, a man unraveling, haunted, not just by his crimes, but by the presence of something else, something that whispered promises of power and vengeance. The spiral wasn't just a symbol to him, it was an invitation. I flip through the journal and one page stops me cold. It describes a ritual one where the necklace acts as a key, unlocking a door between worlds. Charles believed that by wearing it, he could control the spirit inside him. But the last entry, it's a warning. The holding breaks, the spiral twists, the girl is free. The hairs on my neck prick up. Deanna wasn't just a victim, she was bound, trapped in something dark, something cruel, and now she's loose, angry, unfinished. A sudden cold gust sweeps through the cabin, slamming the box shut. I spin around, heart-racing eyes searching the shadows. A faint whisper trails through the room, fragile but filled with sorrow. Find the truth. I nod, swallowing hard. This isn't just a case anymore, it's a reckoning. As I step outside, a glint catches my eye on the ground. The silver necklace, half buried in the dirt, gleams. Despite the gloom, I pick it up, its weight chilling in my palm. I slip it around my neck. A shiver bolts through me, not from cold, but from something ancient, something waiting. This is no longer about justice. It's about survival. The moment the clasp clicks shut behind my neck, I feel a pull like someone just reached into my chest and gave my soul a nudge. The wind stops, dead still. The birds go silent. Even the insects, usually buzzing this deep in the woods, vanish into nothing. And then it starts. A sound low and rhythmic begins in my ears. It's not external, it's inside me. Like a distant heartbeat, but off, out of sync. Wrong. I stagger back from the cabin, tripping over a root, and hit the ground hard. The sky above swirls unnaturally fast. I blink, and I'm not in the forest anymore. I'm standing in a long hallway. The floorboards beneath my boots are warped and groaning. The walls, they're papered with old photos, black and white, all of them, and all showing the same girl. Deanna. Her eyes are blank in every image, like someone rubbed the life out of them with an eraser. Some show her standing in a room, some crying. One shows her, curled up in the dirt, the spiral carved into the ground beside her. I try to look away, but my eyes keep getting pulled back to one picture at the very end of the hallway. It's her, but she's smiling, not sweetly. It's wide, sharp, knowing. She's holding something behind her back. I don't want to know what it is. I blink again just once, and I'm back in the forest, the dirt cold against my hands. I scramble to my feet. My heart won't calm down. Whatever the necklace is doing, it's not done yet. I get in my car and gun the engine, needing to get as far from that place as possible. But even as the miles stretch between me and the cabin, my thoughts keep circling the journal's ritual. Was Charles trying to use her spirit or protect himself from it? I drive straight to the evidence archive. The girl's original case file is buried deep, but I know where to look. I pull it out, dusty, brittle pages. Photos, interviews, nothing we hadn't already seen. But in the envelope of miscellaneous items, there's something odd. A torn-out page from a book. It's in Latin, mostly. But someone, maybe Charles, scrawled a translation underneath. The soul lingers where the body is taken, but not laid to rest. And below that, in different ink, one more line. The necklace binds her. The spiral opens her. I lean back in the stiff metal chair, everything clicking into place. Charles didn't just kill Deanna, he trapped her. That's why she's still here. Why she whispered through the floorboards, showed herself to me. She wasn't trying to scare me. She was trying to ask for help. I take the necklace off. Immediately, my head clears like someone opened a window in my brain. I wrap it carefully in a cloth and lock it in a secure box before heading out. My next stop is the morgue. Deanna's body was buried in an unmarked grave just outside city limits. She never got a proper burial, no funeral, no visitors, just a forgotten patch of earth and a girl the system failed to care about. I make a call to a forensic pathologist I trust. We exhume the body that night. Even with gloves and masks, I feel exposed just standing near the coffin. The ground is cold, too cold for May. The digger stops just short of the coffin lid, and I wave everyone back. I don't know why, but I need to be alone for this. I pull the lid open, and there she is. She looks untouched, preserved far better than 30 years in the ground should allow. The spiral is etched faintly into the wood above her head. As I stand there, the wind picks up again, swirling the loose soil around me. My ears ring. Then clear as crystal, "Bury me right." I whisper back, "I will." The wind vanishes like someone flipped a switch. The air hangs heavy, thick with silence, like the woods are holding their breath. I close the coffin gently, fingers trembling, and step back. My legs feel like rubber, but I manage to call the pathologist over, pretending I didn't just hear a dead girl whisper in my ear. He nods silently, maybe sensing something's off too, and arranges for a private reburial. I make the arrangements personally, no shortcuts this time. Deanna deserves better, a proper plot, flowers, her real name on the headstone. The moment I hang up, I feel a pressure ease off my chest just slightly. But this isn't over, not even close. I can feel her, watching, waiting. There's still something tethering her here. I head back to the precinct armed with caffeine and paranoia. I pull every record we missed the first time, Charles's old personal effects photos from the crime scene. One image sticks out a blood smear on the basement wall shaped like a half-finished spiral. We'd written it off as incidental, but now it looks intentional, ritualistic, like Charles started something and then got scared and stopped halfway. I scan the evidence list again. One item jumps out, a small wooden box, contents unknown, never cataloged properly. I dig through the archives until I find it wedged behind a filing cabinet. It smells musty like cedar and rot. Inside, candles, burnt wax, scraps of bone carved with strange symbols, and a hand-drawn map. It's not of the town. It's of the woods behind Charles's cabin, specifically the grove with the spiral. He drew symbols around the trees, marking points of power and rupture lines. Scribbled notes cover the edges. The boundary is weak here. She listens more clearly. Keep the necklace on while performing the seal. At the bottom, do not complete the spiral unless ready to pay the price. My stomach sinks. Charles wasn't just playing with something he didn't understand. He was trying to finish something, bind something, or someone. I get in the car and head straight back to the cabin, bringing the box and necklace with me. The woods feel different this time, thicker, like the trees lean closer together than before. I follow the map. The grove is easy to find now. The spiral's still there, burned faintly into the earth. I walk the perimeter, placing the bone markers where the map indicates. The candles go next one at each cardinal point. Then the necklace laid gently in the center. I don't speak Latin, but I know fear, and I know ritual, so I improvise, whispering a prayer to whatever's listening. The air warps. The candle flames twist inward against the wind. Leaves rustle, though no breeze blows. My heart hammers so hard, it hurts. And then she's there. Deanna, not solid, not ghostly either. Something in between. She steps into the spiral like she's crossing a bridge I can't see. Her eyes meet mine, and for the first time, they're not empty. She mouths something. I can't hear it. I lean closer. What? She reaches out, pointing at me. No, not at me, past me. I turn. Behind me, a shape moves between the trees. Not her. Him. Charles. Or what's left of him. His body should be long gone, but there he stands, half shadow, half husk, moving like a puppet controlled by rage. His eyes are empty, but his hands twitch, and they're holding something. The same knife from the original case photos. The blade is clean, too clean. Like it's been waiting. I don't move. Neither does Deanna. She just stares at him, sadness folding over her expression like fog. He takes a step forward. I break the silence. She's not yours. He tilts his head. She was never meant to go free. I step into the spiral. The second my foot touches the line, the world shudders. A high-pitched tone pierces my ears like metal grinding on bone. Deanna's figure glows faintly, her form flickering like candlelight in wind. Charles lunges. I grab the necklace, hold it tight in both hands, and speak the only words I remember from the journal, half Latin, half desperate prayer. Ego relinquo ego salvo vincula tua. I let go. The necklace drops into the dirt. Light explodes from the spiral. Charles screams, not with fear, but with rage. The kind of sound that peels the bark off trees. He clutches his head, the shadow around him, ripping apart in strands like wet paper in fire. Deanna watches silently. Then she turns to me, smiles, and vanishes. Just like that, the woods go silent again. No wind, no birds. Just me standing in the spiral necklace buried at my feet. The candles have all burned out. I drive back with the windows rolled down, trying to breathe in something real, something normal. Trees blur past in green streaks, and every mile I put between me and that spiral feels like peeling off a wet, suffocating blanket. I don't say a word, don't play music, just the hum of tires and the occasional crack of gravel under the wheels. But something's changed, not just in the woods, in me. It's like a pressure I didn't know was there has eased up, but not vanished. More like it's watching from just over my shoulder. A new layer of reality, and I can't unsee it. Back at the precinct, everything looks the same. Fluorescent lights, old bulletin boards, the weird stain in the break room. No one's cleaned in 5 years. But even here, I catch myself glancing at the corners. Shadows linger longer than they should. The chief pulls me into his office. He says, Deanna's parents, yeah, the real ones have been notified. Apparently, they'd spent a decade thinking she ran away. Seeing their daughter finally buried properly broke them, but also gave them peace. They'd even sent a thank you card, handwritten. There's a sentence in it I can't stop rereading. Sometimes closure isn't what you expect, it's just enough to breathe again. I tack it to the board in my office, right next to the photo of the necklace. And then I do what I should have done from the start, re-examine every cold case that even remotely smells like Charles's ritual nonsense. Missing girls, weird forest scenes, anything that hints at something off. One jumps out almost immediately. A girl named Leah, age 15, vanished 3 years before Deanna. Same area, same time of year. Last seen walking home from school, cutting through the woods to make it faster. She never arrived. Her case was open and shut. No leads, no body presumed run away. But there's a detail in the police report that turns my blood cold. Found near her house a necklace, bronze. Filigree work around a smoky blue gem. The report lists it as unrelated. My hands start shaking. I check the evidence locker. It's still there. Different design, different chain, but unmistakably similar sister pieces maybe, or duplicates. And this one's humming, not literally, not out loud, but I feel it, like a hum in my teeth. So I do what any good detective would do. I put on gloves, grab a recorder, and take it home. Yeah, stupid, I know. I place the necklace on my kitchen table and just stare. It feels like it's staring back. The house creaks more than usual tonight. Pipes ping, wood settles, at least that's what I tell myself. Around midnight, I press play on the recorder and speak clearly. Detective N case file 004D, Leah Granger. Testing possible link to artifact found in relation to Deanna Shaw's case. I wait. Nothing. Then the power flickers once, twice. My lamp buzzes, goes out, comes back, and I hear it. Not a whisper this time. A voice, soft, childlike, speaking in rhyme. Left behind, I sleep in trees. Dig too deep and you'll find me. I spin around. Empty room. But the necklace is vibrating now. I swear I see faint mist curling off it. My breath fogs. In my own house. I check the thermostat. It's 72 degrees. I lean closer. The gem flashes once, just a blink of blue, and I see her. Leah. Not in front of me. In my mind. Like a photo burned into memory. She's standing in a shallow ravine, holding her arms tight around herself. Dirt smudged across her cheeks. Eyes wide with panic. There's someone behind her. Tall. Wearing a heavy coat. Gloved hands. The image vanishes as fast as it came, but I scribble everything down. I know that ravine. It's just outside Miller's Bluff. Used to be a dumping ground before it got fenced off. I don't sleep. At first light, I head out, badge and my pocket necklace zipped up in a padded pouch. Miller's Bluff hasn't changed. Chain link fencing rusted in places. I hop it and start scanning the ground. Mud sticks to my boots. Mosquitoes buzz like angry thoughts. The ravine is half collapsed, rain-washed and wild, but I recognize the slope from the vision. And halfway down where the earth splits around a jutting rock, I find it. A strip of faded denim, something shiny caught under the soil. Another necklace. Third one. This one's cracked, the gem missing. There's a coldness that blooms in my chest, slow and deep like frost on a window pane. I call it in. Excavation team, forensics. But I already know what they'll find. Another girl, another forgotten. And maybe this time not the last. Because it's not about Charles anymore. He didn't make these. He was using them. Each necklace is a beacon, a trap, or worse, a key. I don't go home that night, not because I'm afraid to... Well, okay, maybe partly that, but mostly because there's just too much screaming in my head to fall asleep. Instead, I crash on the couch in my office, thin pillow. The ceiling fan clicks every third rotation. Still better than sharing a room with that necklace. By morning, they've confirmed it. Leah Granger, DNA match. And under her, a second set of bones, older, degraded, likely another girl from the same area, maybe even earlier than Leah. Forensics is working overtime, but we both know what they'll find: a pattern, a sequence, maybe a timeline. I start pinning printed maps to my wall, little red dots marking each girl, each found necklace, each known detail. That's when I notice it. The dots aren't random. They form a crescent arc, almost like they're framing something. Not quite a circle, but close. In the dead center of that arc, a stretch of woods known to the locals as the Hollows. I've never stepped foot in there. Most people haven't. People say it doesn't feel right. One hunter once told me I don't go there 'cause my dog won't. Honestly, that should be carved into a warning sign. If your German Shepherd acts like it saw a ghost, take the hint. I grab the remaining necklaces. All three now. Each feels heavier than before. My hand tingles when I hold them too long. I throw them into a lead-lined evidence case, just a temporary one I rigged up, and decide it's time. Time to go into the Hollows. I text one person, Jenny. She's the local park ranger I trust most. Knows every trail, every rumor, every weird spot kids dare each other to visit on Halloween. When I tell her where I'm going, she replies with, "You better not be doing this alone." I text back a skull emoji and LOL. Too late. Then I turn off my phone. The air thickens as I cross into the Hollows. It's not just damp, it's wet like the trees are sweating secrets. Moss hangs from branches like old bandages, no birds. No wind, just the soft crunch of my boots on damp leaves and the occasional creak of bark. I follow no path, there is no path, but I feel pulled by what can't say. Maybe the necklaces, maybe guilt, maybe something that wants me to find it. 30 minutes in, I start seeing them. Little signs, not literal ones, but marks. A tree with an eye carved into it, stones stacked into spirals, charred remains of what might have been a doll at some point, rituals, markers, warnings, or invitations. The trees open slightly, revealing a clearing that doesn't look natural. The grass is too flat, like it was pressed down by a crowd that left no footprints. In the center, a stump, cut clean, ancient, moss-covered. Something glints on it. Another necklace. No chain this time, just the pendant. I approach, slowly feeling the edges of reality start to smudge. My head rings ears full of static. I reach for the necklace, and the second I touch it, a gunshot tears through the air, wood splinters just left of my head. I hit the ground hard, roll behind a log, my heart's going full drumline. Another shot, closer, voices now. 2, maybe 3. One says, "You weren't supposed to find this one." They're not cops. I peek over the log, camouflage jackets, painted faces, rifles. These aren't hunters. They're protectors of this place, this secret. Another voice. "We wait for the moon. Don't waste him." That's the last straw. I hurl the necklace case into the clearing and sprint in the opposite direction, crashing through brush, getting sliced by thorns. They follow. I hear them shouting, swearing, but I know this forest better than they do. I double back, loop around, and climb a tree I'd marked with a ribbon months ago while tracking a bobcat. From there, I watch them search. One guy picks up the lead case, opens it, recoils, like it burns him. He yells, put it back now." Another replies, "It's too late, he's seen it." Then, silence. They vanish into the woods like shadows just folded in. I wait a full hour before climbing down. I don't take the necklace this time. I leave it right there. Back at the car, I sit with my hands on the wheel, trembling. I look into the mirror and I swear for a split second, I see Deanna, not rotting, not screaming, just watching. And then she's gone. That night, I write a report I know no one will believe. I keep a personal file off record, and I start marking the remaining unexplained disappearances. The pattern continues. There's one more necklace missing, the last point of the crescent. If I find it, if I complete the set, what then? Will I wake them or stop them? I don't sleep again. That makes 2 nights in a row. My apartment is filled with shadows that don't seem to move when the lights change, and every time the pipes knock, I flinch. It's not fear exactly, it's more like I'm attuned now, like my ears are tuned to a different frequency, the one where reality bleeds. I spend most of the night re-watching footage from an old interview I did years back with Deanna's mom. I'd only met her once back when we thought Deanna had just run away. The mom kept looking off camera like something was watching her behind me. Back then I thought it was just grief. Now I'm not so sure. There's a moment in the video I never noticed before. Behind her on the shelf, a velvet box, one of those necklace cases. Zoom. Enhance. I'm not even joking. That cliche CSI move actually pays off. The case is open just a crack and there it is. The final pendant. A different design from the others. Older, looks almost antique. The timestamp on the video, 10 days before she reported her daughter missing. I tracked down Deanna's mom again. She lives 2 towns over now off a dirt road, big no trespassing sign on the gate. I buzz twice before the intercom crackles and a voice I don't recognize says, "Go away." I say I know about the necklace. The gate opens. She's changed. Older, yes, but also hollowed out. Like part of her soul got scooped out with a spoon and never refilled. She doesn't say hi, just walks back into the house and expects me to follow. Inside smells like sage and plastic. She offers me coffee, but her hands tremble so hard she spills most of it. "I buried it," she finally says, "no preamble." The necklace. She nods. After Deanna started seeing things, I thought it was cursed. Where? In the garden, behind the statue. I look out the window. Sure enough, there's a moss-covered angel back there, head snapped clean off. The grass looks disturbed, recently dug. She adds, "You shouldn't take it. It's not just a necklace, it wants to be whole." But I've come too far. I dig with my hands. The soil is loose, damp, and cold, like it's waiting. After a minute, my fingers touch velvet. I pull the box out slowly. The metal is ice cold through the cloth. As I open the lid, I feel it. Not here. Feel. Something shifts around me. The air folds. The light dims, even though it's mid-afternoon. The pendant is different from the others, more intricate. An engraving of two hands holding a flame. The chain is frayed as if yanked off violently. I barely make it to my car before her voice hits me from behind. "Don't wear it. Don't even touch it." But the box is already in my lap. I don't wear it, I swear. But the thing buzzes through the box like a phone call from the dead. The same way the others did, just more insistent. Back at the office, I line them all up, the 4 necklaces. Each one represents a girl. Each girl vanished. Each pendant hums when placed in proximity of the others, like tuning forks aligning. I start to wonder, what happens if I bring them back to where it started? Back to the hollows. Maybe it'll open something. Maybe it'll close something. That night, I gear up again, this time with a vest, flashlight, recorder, and one friend I trust, Marcus. Former army, no nonsense. Thinks ghosts are a brain chemical imbalance, but he owes me a favor. When I show him the necklaces, he says, "Cool, if I die, I'm haunting you." We head out just after midnight. The forest is different now. The path feels clearer, like the necklaces are showing me the way. Marcus cracks jokes the whole time to mask how unsettled he is. Any chance these things summon a ghost that does taxes? Nope, just ones that want revenge. Awesome, I always said my ex would come back for me. We reach the clearing again. It hasn't changed. Except it has. There's a circle etched into the ground now, fresh. Symbols I've never seen before. In the center, the stump. It calls to me. I step into the circle and place each necklace on the stump. One by one, they click into place, literally. Magnetic or supernatural, can't tell. Don't care. The moment the 4th necklace hits the wood, the air drops 20 degrees. Marcus shivers. Nope, I'm out. But then it happens. A sound, like a cry underwater, muffled, distorted, and angry. The trees sway, though there's no wind. Shadows stretch toward the stump like fingers. And then the girls appear. Not ghosts, exactly. More like projections made of grief and memory. 4 teenage girls flickering not quite there. One of them, Deanna, looks directly at me. "You brought us back." Another voice behind her, but we're not alone. A shape rises behind them. Not human, something that fed off their pain. Used the necklaces like fishing lures. Lured them one by one. Marcus screams, his voice cracks, "Run!" I don't. I grab the necklaces and throw them into the fire pit at the edge of the clearing, one I hadn't noticed before, but now burns cold blue flame. The moment the last pendant touches the fire, a pulse, a wave. The forest screams, then silence. The girls vanish. The stump splits down the center. The thing behind them, it recoils, shudders, and evaporates into ash. And then, it's just a forest again. Normal. Too normal. Marcus and I don't speak until we're back at the car. He lights a cigarette with shaking hands. "You're buying me lunch. For life." I nod. But deep down I know we didn't destroy it. We woke it. Sleep doesn't come easy. Every shadow in my apartment stretches longer, every creak louder. I keep replaying that call, the girl's lullaby, like a ghostly tether pulling me back. I'm drawn to the cabin, to the place that feels like the epicenter of this nightmare. I drive back to southern Arizona, heart-pounding palms slick. The forest feels alive watching. The trees don't just sway, they whisper. The air is thick with old secrets, the scent of dry earth and something darker, something burnt. I stand before the cabin, its door hanging ajar like a mouth waiting to swallow me whole. My flashlight cuts through the gloom, revealing faded symbols carved into the wood. Faint but unmistakable, a twisted pattern, like a spider's web inked with a strange kind of menace. I step inside the floorboards, creaking underfoot. The air is stale, thick with dust, and the residue of memories better left untouched. On the far wall, I notice scratch marks, deep gouges, desperate, like someone clawed to escape. The scent of cold metal lingers sharp and unforgiving. Then I hear it, the soft sound of something sliding across the floor. I freeze, every nerve screaming. A small silver necklace lies on the floor, swinging gently even though there's no breeze. The pendant glints a tiny, intricate rose. I reach down, fingers trembling, and pick it up. Suddenly, the room goes icy cold. My breath fogs, heart thumping in the silence. From the corner of my eye, a faint figure appears, a girl in white, her hair tangled, eyes hollow, yet pleading. She extends a trembling hand, and I swear she mouths two words, "Help me." I nod, swallowing the lump in my throat. The cabin's secrets are not just about past crimes, they're alive, restless. Trapped souls aching for justice, for peace. And now I'm their only hope. I barely sleep that night in the cabin. Every creak and groan feels like a whisper, every shadow a lurking presence. The necklace burns cold in my palm, an icy reminder that Deanna's story is far from over. I spend hours scrawling notes, piecing together timelines and possible motives, my mind a cyclone of half-remembered facts and fresh nightmares. The sun creeps in slow, but the cabin feels darker inside. I can almost hear Deanna's breath on my neck, a soft, sorrowful whisper that clings to the air. Psychologists still debate whether these hauntings are echoes of trauma or just our minds trying to make sense of chaos. But sitting here, I know one thing: some ghosts don't leave until their story is told. Back in town, I meet with old-timers and neighbors, people who remember the cabin and the rumors around it. Their stories overlap, fragmented and disturbing. Strange lights at night, sounds like crying in the wind, a shadowy figure that vanishes when approached. One woman, hands trembling, swears she saw a girl in white, standing by the edge of the forest, necklace gleaming under the moon. The investigation feels like a tug-of-war between the living and the dead. Deanna's presence haunts every corner, reminding me that justice isn't just about evidence or conviction, it's about remembrance, about giving a voice to the forgotten. I leave the cabin for the last time, the necklace clasped tightly in my fist. The forest seems quieter now, but I know better. The past never truly stays buried. It lingers, waiting for someone brave enough to listen. Some cases don't just close, they echo, and some spirits, they never stop watching. Now dim the lights, lock your doors, and remember, sometimes the real nightmare isn't what's out there in the dark. It's what we refuse to see. Sleep doesn't come easy after a story like this. Deanna's tale reminds us that behind every cold case, every forgotten name, there's a person who deserves to be remembered, not just for how they died, but for who they were. The necklace swinging gently in the night is more than a clue. It's a symbol of the lives left hanging in silence. So as you turn off your lights tonight, ask yourself, are you really alone? Or is there someone watching, waiting to be heard? The story is over, but the memory remains etched in shadows and whispered on the wind.